understand who it is that you're speaking to, remember, know your audience. Let's read about the Apostle Paul and his experience leading up to and at Mars Hill.
Acts 17, 16, and 17. Now, while Paul was waiting for them at Athens, his spirit was being provoked within him as he was observing the city full of idols. So he was reasoning in the synagogue with the Jews and the God fearing Gentiles, and in the marketplace every day with those who happened to be present.
So the scripture really describes that his spirit was being provoked within him as he observed this city full of idols, as the passion for truth burned within him. He's walking down the street saying, "This is heretical. This is heresy. This is blasphemy." He's in this place that's completely foreign to what he's all about. Well, what he did is he would go to the marketplace and he would speak to those who would listen. That's how he started. Others heard Others heard and said, this is interesting. And they invited him to be more broadly present. So before them, so he could present to them the spiritual doctrine which he was teaching. So now he was going to move on to go to Mars Hill, where he was invited to speak about these things.
And Mars Hill is also known as the Areopagus. It's a rocky hill in Athens, Greece. Today it's a real popular tourist site, but historically it served as a court and a meeting place for legal and philosophical discussions. So to be invited to this area to speak to everybody, this is a big opportunity for Paul.
It is. It is. So he recognized who it is he needs to be speaking to, and now he's going to show that second point, which is respect.
Establish a common ground of respect, even if it has to be very basic. Acts 17, 22 and 23. So Paul stood in the midst of the Areopagus and said, "Men of Athens, I observe you are very religious in all respects. For while I was passing through and examining the objects of your worship, I also found an altar with this inscription, to an unknown God."
The Apostle Paul didn't introduce by saying, "You guys are all fools because your idols are all nonsense." He didn't do that. What he said was, "I see that you're religious. I see that you take your objects of worship very seriously. And I noticed one of those many, 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 many objects of worship that says to an unknown God." He's showing respect. He's showing the fact that he's observed how they live, and he's identifying with them. And that brings him to this listening point. Okay, now it's this listening point. For us to be heard, we should be willing to listen with attentive conviction. And so here's how he expresses his ability to listen to them. It's in Acts chapter 17, the second part of verse 23. He says, "Therefore, what you worship in ignorance, this I proclaim to you." So he's connecting the dots. You have you're religious. You have all of these objects of worship. And there's this one that's called to the unknown God. I want to proclaim this to you because obviously, by definition, you're not sure about this one.
He found a way in.
He did. He did. Now, here's the thing. He found a way in, but the space between respect and perceived insult can be very, very, very small. Wisdom and grace must be applied. It would have been very easy to be insulting to them, but he phrased it in such a way that he was actually showing them respect as he was about to expand their thinking.
For a practical understanding in our day, this is something to remember when we share comments online. Christians should be the most respectful, the most kind, and sadly, this isn't always the case. I've noticed a distinct pattern when reviewing comments on our own channels. Those who identify as pagan are almost always respectful and kind in sharing dialogue. I can't say that with other Christians. So just something to keep in mind. Be respectful. And listen.
Yeah, and it goes a long way. The concept of being respectful and listening.